What's up, everybody? Blessed be. My name is Manon, and you are watching Witch in the Working, where we will be discussing all things witchy in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond. Please visit me on my other platforms as well, including Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon, all linked down in the description below. The full scripts to this video and most of the others is available on my Patreon accounts for download if desired, to build your own Witch in the Working Book of Shadows if you wish. Also, please visit my Shopify store listed in the description below to get your Witch in the Working shirts, mugs, stickers, bags, beanies, or what have you. Also, I wanted to tell all of you that do donate to my Patreon account and who do send like through YouTube and whatnot, money and whatnot, because it really helps a lot. For instance, my recorder that I use to do these videos actually just took a crap, and I just had to go dish out $400 to buy a new recorder so that I could make these videos for you guys. And your money helped pay for that, your donations. So thank you so much for those of you who donate, because it really does help in situations like this. That being said, there are many life milestones that happen in a person's existence. These milestones are usually the same culture to culture, but celebrated differently as well, culture to culture. Some of these milestones are birth dates, like a birthing in other words, rites of passage into puberty, for instance, such as bar and bat mitzvahs, or quinceaneras, I think it's pronounced. Marriages, rites of passage into Crone Hood or Sagedom, so to speak, and even celebrations of life that usually occur upon death of an individual, which is kind of weird, but I mean, it's a celebration of life upon the death, but it's to celebrate their life when you get it. Anyway, each one of these milestones has a place in many pagan systems as well. In Wicca, a Wiccaning is basically a ritual that celebrates a child coming into the world and being blessed by the god and goddess. A coming of age is a rite of passage that is celebrated when a boy or girl reaches puberty and begins that awkward and exciting journey into adulthood. A celebration of life, or crossing over, is performed when a person passes away and they are honored and celebrated for their life's journey and are supported by the living and honoring their journey forward in the afterlife, and the gods and goddesses are petitioned to help clear the way and make their journey easy and confident, preparing their way for rebirth. I actually have a video on this called a rite, I believe it's called a rite for departure or a rite for the departed, and I'll link it here and you can take a look at that. Another super popular milestone that exists in many pagan traditions is that of marriage, which we usually call a handfasting. So as most of you know by now, Pink and I finally tied the knot and got handfasted last Saturday, October 8th. So I figured what better topic to go over than the rite of handfasting. And what is it? How is it different than traditional marriage, and what does it consist of? Well, in this episode of Witch in the Working, we will answer all of those questions and more. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and get ready for it, and roll intro. Welcome back, everyone. So as I mentioned, Pink and I finally got handfasted last Saturday the 8th, and everything went great. It was a beautiful handfasting. Our family and friends were in attendance. The hall was beautiful and right on Hampton Beach in New Hampshire, and the site was freaking gorgeous. I want to thank all of you who sent congratulations and sweet thoughts to us. It was really appreciated, and it really let me know just how many of you truly care out there in YouTube land. Thank you again. I love all of you. Mwah. So what is a handfasting? Basically, it's a marriage between two people. Usually two people, but goddess knows nowadays. I mean, it could be 3 or 4. Anyway, only Handfastings existed long before your traditional Abrahamic type weddings existed. Cultures around the world have celebrated marriages for thousands of years, though they can be called many different things per culture and have different ceremonial distinctions per culture as well. One Norwegian tradition, for instance, states that the bride will wear an ornate silver and gold crown that has small charms dangling all around it. When she moves, the tinkling sound is supposed to deflect evil spirits. During the ceremony, as a Mexican couple is exchanging their vows, a lasso made of rosary beads and flowers is draped around their shoulders in the shape of a figure 8. Not only does el lazo represent the union of the couple, but its shape also resembles the infinity symbol, signifying just how long they're hoping the marriage will last. In China, a prospective husband will shoot his bride with a bow and, it's headless of course, a bow and arrow several times, then collects the arrows and breaks them during the ceremony to ensure their love lasts forever. In Guatemala, as wedding reception hosts, the parents of Guatemalan grooms can do whatever they want, including smashing things. When the newlyweds arrive, it's a tradition that the groom's mom breaks a white ceramic bell filled with grains like rice and flour to bring prosperity to the couple. In India, on the day of the wedding, in a ritual called Juda Chupai, an Indian bride's mischievous sisters and female cousins make off with the groom's shoes and demand ransom money for their safe return. This is just a few traditions that occur culturally. There are literally dozens, if not hundreds, of marriage traditions around the world, making each experience unique, exciting, and beautiful to that culture, religion, and/or society. So what about a handfasting? Where does this come from? Handfasting is an ancient Celtic tradition that dates back to 7000 BC. Traditionally, when two people were brought to be married, a cord or piece of material was used to bind the couple's hands together during the ceremony. This symbolized the joining of two lives and is where the expression tying the knot comes from. Ancient Celtic law would see this union as a trial period that lasted for 1 year and 1 day, which would ensure the couple was ready for the commitment of marriage. It was also seen as a public declaration of intent to marry, which would let any potential suitors know that both parties were, quote, off the market, unquote. One of the biggest differences, and particularly one I love, is that this ceremony can be conducted by anyone. It doesn't have to be an officiant of the church or a legal system, so to speak. For instance, in Pink and I's handfasting, our daughter Quinn actually wrapped our hands with the cords and said the sacred words. Speaking of these sacred words, yet another thing I love about this ceremony, it doesn't use the doom and gloom wording of "till death do you part." Instead, the wording of bonding usually says "as long as love shall last," which in my opinion is more realistic, as it is bonding, but only in the sense the couple's own strengths and commitments to each other as they grow before the gods and goddesses. Like many other concepts and ideologies in paganism, this choice of wording and ceremony are very freeing and not so compounded with doom and gloom ideas. This doom and gloom and strike fear into them is so typical of the Abrahamic faiths. But of course, why wouldn't it be? I mean, why stray from the formula that they have used for centuries to make money and control the masses? So as I mentioned earlier, handfastings are very Celtic in nature and therefore have found their way back into modern day pagan practices as almost a staple for most pagans who do tie the knot, so to speak. A handfasting, just like a marriage, can be performed with an officiant who is a notary or an ordained minister so that the couple are legally bound within their particular state or land, so to speak. But again, this is what makes handfastings so unique and freeing. They don't have to be. A couple can perform a handfasting simply to mark this time in their lives where they decided to commit to each other in life and love, and again, as long as love shall last. They don't have to file paperwork with the state or their local system if they don't want to. Of course, if they want to be tied and bound by their local governments for legality purposes, they can do that just as well. It's completely up to them. Usually in a marriage, a traditional type marriage, you don't have this option. You're tied and bound legally whether you like it or not. In fact, many people who get handfasted will actually get married legally by the courts just before or just after their handfasting ceremony if they choose to. This way they are formally and legally bound and married, but are able to perform their preferred handfasting ritual instead of a traditional marriage in an Abrahamic manner, for instance. So we talked about what a handfasting is, and and how it differs from a traditional marriage. There is no one ritual of handfasting. Everyone usually does it a little different. The only thing that stays consistent is that the couple are bound together temporarily with a cord or ribbon of some kind that is wrapped around their wrists as they hold hands. The color, length, width, and type of the material used for the handfasting cord is dependent on the choices that the couple choose for their particular ceremony. How the cord is tied, who does it, and the words that are said are as well dependent upon the couple's decisions per their ceremony. Pink and I wrote our own handfasting ritual for our ceremony. We didn't film it, but we did get tons of pics that we can share at some point. We decided for this video we are going to film a demonstration of what our ritual consisted of and how we performed it so that you can have an idea of how a handfasting is carried out. So let's take a trip out of the studio and back to the apartment for a demonstration so we can share with you what we did for our ceremony last Saturday on Hampton Beach.
I bless this creature of salt in the name of the god and goddess, driving out all negativity, making it pure and clean for the use of this rite. I bless this creature of water in the name of the god and goddess, driving out all negativity, making it pure and clean for the use of this rite.
We bring light to this temple and embrace the brilliant rays of peace, love, and happiness in our lives and all of those who share in our journey. Let this creature of sage drive out any impurities and negativity in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond, in the names of the God and Goddess, so mote it be.
With this sword and petals, we create a boundary of sacred space. With the power of earth and water, I purify the sacred space. I harness the power of air and fire to clear out all negativity in this sacred space. I harness the power of spirit to protect and bless this sacred space.
As once we were separate, now two become one.
May these two souls be bound together in peace and love and happiness as long as love shall last.
We exchange these gifts together to symbolize our strength and growth moving forward. May you never thirst, hunger, or need, so mote it be.
May you never thirst, hunger, or need, so mote it be.
Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of What's in the Working. Have you ever attended a hand fasting ritual? Were you and your partner hand fasted? Let us all know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to ring that little bell to be reminded of wonderful and exciting future episodes to come. I love you guys and gals. Blessed be.